Guys, welcome back to another vlog. This is the year-end review. 2025, if you use that calendar, has been pretty challenging for my family and I, just on a personal level more than anything else, especially here at the end of the year. But yeah, stick around and we'll get into it. I had to move into the shade here. It's been pretty much, overcast the entire day until just like right at this moment when I open up the phone to a vlog for a few minutes. But 2025 was a very interesting year, and it started back in Saudi Arabia. At the end of 2024, just the very beginning of 2025 in January, my colleague George and I were wrapping up a pretty intensive course that we had been planning for the months prior to that. It was with the Saudi Electric company in Saudi Arabia, in Al Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it was specially designed to take place during the winter break. So while most of our trainees had their colleagues go on vacation and go and have fun, they actually stuck around Riyadh and had an intensive English program with us. Some of them came all the way from Dammam, and others came from other parts of the country, but most were from the capital city. And that was a very challenging moment in work for us. George and I put a lot of work into that, and developing it was a lot. There's a lot of pressure put on my manager, Mr. Khalil, as well. But at the end, I think that we were quite successful and that we pulled it off. That's how the year kicked off. At that point, too, I was pretty much at the end of my career, or at the end of my, I guess, time with my company there in Saudi Arabia. I had informed them, I believe, I think 2 months prior to that, that I wouldn't be continuing and that this would be like our last project together, aside from regular work. It's not like I was doing a ton of other projects, maybe just only one other one during the span that I was there, but anyways. So that was going on, and being in Al Riyadh just meant that at that time I wanted to wrap up everything. And when you leave the country, if you're a permanent resident, not the same kind of permanent residency that you get in Malaysia, mind you, but if you're an Iqama holder, a residency card holder, there are some things you have to do, such as closing out your bank account, and if you have a credit card, you have to cancel your credit card. If you have any debts, you have to pay off any debts, those kinds of things. So you have to make sure that you take care of all loose ends and wrap up things before you head out. I did that, and I got a police report, but I didn't get the same one that I used to get because it's now different. It was done electronically, and that's kind of a letdown because now it's only good for 1 month, I guess, as opposed to before in Saudi Arabia when you get the police report, it's good for a much longer time. One thing I did do that I would note, and that is noteworthy for anybody else who is living nearby a U.S. embassy while abroad, is that you can renew your passport whenever you would choose to, whenever you'd like to. You don't actually have to have any kind of reason. I was going to say a valid reason, but you don't need a reason besides I want a new passport to get a new passport for an American passport holder. A lot of American citizens don't know this. So although I had a considerable amount of time left on my original passport, I knew from watching videos of people from here that to renew your passport in other countries can be a little bit more challenging, your American passport. So I took care of that before I left, renewed my passport. One thing to keep in mind too is that for whatever reason, some bank accounts when you leave the country will close as soon as you go through the final exit. What would you say, the customs people, the immigration officer. As soon as they check you as marked out of the country, one of my bank accounts closed immediately, and there was still a little bit of money in there, so I kind of was a little bit upset about that. And the other one stayed open. So that's kind of hit and miss. Case in point, make sure that you basically withdraw everything out of your bank accounts, even if it's something small. You don't want to just leave behind money for nothing, right? And yeah, that's something to bear in mind. From there, we moved here to the Philippines. And Zamboanga is not really new to me because I had been visiting for years. Over the span of maybe 6 or 7 years, I had been visiting this country. So it's not like a new place to me, but at the same time, living here full-time is new. So there were adjustments that come in with that, of course, adjusting to the lifestyle here, the speed of things here, the humidity here, and also like the whole thing took some adjusting to. Some of the pluses were that we have access to a lot more fresh fruits and some fresh fish and things like that. If you're a big fish eater, I'm kind of a mild fish eater, and even like these days I've been almost eating nothing. I don't know why when it comes to like tuna. Um, but with fresh produce, there's a lot of good options here. A lot of fresh bananas and other like local fruits and things like that. The downside is that like a lot of the conveniences here, or pardon me, in Saudi Arabia, aren't here. For example, like in Saudi Arabia, if you want to, some simple things, I guess, if you want to get checked through any kind of, you know, customer sales, you know, purchase of sale, point of sale kind of transaction where you go through the line and you get, you know, checked through by a cashier. In Saudi Arabia, it's maximized. Like the speed is like boom, boom, boom. They move you as fast as they can to get to the next customer. But here it takes a lot of patience. Like it takes more time. They're usually like 2 people per cashier, always working permanently. Sometimes a third person, depending on the store, right? I found, like for example, the pharmacy C-sales, um, they have a really convoluted system, and I really don't understand why they make it that hard. They'll have like a ton of employees working, and like you have to pay for it, and then they give you a ticket with your number on it, and then you have to wait for your change to be made by a separate group of people. It just seems very, very convoluted. And mind you, like this whole process could be done in like 13, 14 seconds by one person if the proper training was put into place. I don't know where that comes from. I just know that a lot of data is logged as well, which is different than in Saudi Arabia. So like a lot of each item is like recorded and handwritten, and everything's checked and rechecked and checked again before it's actually handed off to you. So that's something that's taken a little bit of adjusting or, you know, getting used to. Aside from that, like I think some people think that I'm swimming all the time here, or that I'm just spending my days at the beach, and that's just definitely not the case. I do have to work a lot more now, not in terms of like amounts of hours worked, but being available for work because I'm working online. When I work online, the the hours aren't guaranteed, so you have to really, really make sure that you're available to try to catch as many students as possible for online classes. So that has been another big change this year. I moved away from, excuse me, working in a regular established company to an online company that has online students, and those students are here and there. So you have to really, really make sure that you set your timing accordingly, so that you can, you know, maximize the amount of students that you can meet in a day. So putting the little one into school, becoming regular online for working, developing a regular base of students took some time and some establishing. And I also, at the same time, was coordinating my trip home to the United States to visit my family there. And that brings me to the next point about loss. Both my wife and I actually just this month lost our fathers. Both of them passed away this month. My wife's father passed away, and then 8 days later my father passed away. So that's been a bit tough on us. You know, alhamdulillah, ala kulli hal, like, what can we do? You know, when your time comes, it comes. In the case of my dad, I hadn't seen him for a very long time. We had like a falling out, which is neither here nor there, but we had a falling out a very long time ago. And we were able to thankfully reconcile before he passed away. He was already sick, and I had known that, and I had been communicating with him via email for a number of years. And we finally decided that, you know, the time is short and limited, and it's best that we at least get a chance to see each other. And my meeting with him was at his home in Florida, and that was surprisingly nice. And it was really, really good to catch up with my dad. We watched the Bills, and I also caught up with my mom when I was in the United States, and also she's going through some hardships right now too, in her own way. It's been a bit of a tough year. 2025 has been a bit, well, not just a bit tough, it's been a challenging year. I also met with my auntie, which was I guess the highlight of the trip as well, because she's still doing really great. And of course, I hadn't seen her in a very long time as well, so we had a lot of great conversations. I had a lot of great conversations with my dad too, and I'm really appreciative that I got a chance to see him in person before he passed away. Fast forward, we had to Also make a trip to Hong Kong, my family and I, so that way we could travel together back into the Philippines and allow me to have that 1 year visa, which I wouldn't have otherwise. That saves a lot of hassle and paperwork. So we went to Hong Kong. It's our first time. It was all of our first times into China, and my wife's first time, my daughter's first time, and my first time, which was really cool. It was a nice trip. We came back, and fast forward, of course, the things that I just mentioned happened. Like my father-in-law passed away, so we had to see to it that he was taken care of in terms of all the Muslim funeral rites, right? And about just 8 days later, my father passed away. So that's why I haven't been really so busy online. It's just been a heavy end of the year, to put it lightly. No pun intended there. Anyways, y'all, that has been pretty much it. So started in Saudi Arabia, and then from Saudi Arabia came here to the Philippines, had a trip to the United States, went to Hong Kong and came back, and then the year is closing out now. So I hope that 2026 will be a little bit of an easier year in terms of these kinds of things, but we'll see. And yeah, that's about it. That's my year in review. If you have any questions or comments or things like that, you can always feel free to leave a comment in the comment section here. And I was thinking also for all of the Muslim converts out there, that maybe we'll do some kind of live, not on here, but on maybe on Instagram or on TikTok, to do like some kind of TikTok live during Christmas, because I know that during the Christmas season a lot of converts like feel lonely or whatever. Not so much me, but maybe like, you know, some of the newer converts. So I'll maybe open up a live. Yeah, I'm not really sure yet, but I'm also in a different time zone, but I think I can make that happen. I'll see if I can coordinate that with a few other folks. Anyways, guys, I hope that this was an interesting vlog for you. If you've come this far, thank you very much. Please be sure to like the video and share it with friends that you think might enjoy it. And also subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Anyways, y'all, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed some of the B-roll here as well. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye.